Should I be like, welcome to Broodmare Bump Date Part 2? I've been doing bump dates on my TikTok. Let me turn my sound off. People are talking to me too much. So this is the Broodmare Update Part 2 for the 2023 foaling season. Let's go check on all the mamas. One of them's inside, the rest of them are outside. A lot of stuff has happened since Part 1, and I have a feeling that by the time this is posted, we might have a baby on the ground. So let's go check her out. Hey. How are you? Good, how are you? Perfect, she's in the cross ties. So while her stall's getting clean and she's in the cross ties, let's take advantage and check her out a little bit. So in Part 1, you met Beyonce at the very end. She has an injury that prevents her from going outside all the time. She's on like limited hand walking and turnout right now because she injured it when she was pregnant. She injured it before she ever became a broodmare, and then now, since she's had a few babies, she re-injured it when she was like 5 months pregnant with this baby. So we've been keeping her on stall rest to make sure that when the baby does come, she's able to go outside with it and whatnot. So let's check on her. She should be our third mare to have a baby. Her due date is April 4th, but every single baby she has ever had, which is like 5, she's come at least 2 weeks early. So we're gonna probably be looking at like a March 20th baby. That's my guess at least. So let's look at her udder. I know we looked at it last time, so there'll be something to compare it to. Now, again, she's still got a couple months and she's had babies before. So we'll look at another mare that we have who has not had a baby before, and she's farther along than Beyonce, and her udder is way smaller. So mares generally have a bigger udder just in general once they've had a few babies. So you can see that with Beyonce here, that her teats are a little more elongated, but she doesn't really have a full milk bag yet. Here's another thing. Let me undo her thing because I want to show you the difference between a mare who is not close to foaling versus a mare who is close to foaling, the looseness of their hip. So let me just undo her blanket a little bit and flip it up, because I felt her last night and she's still very firm, and it's a big difference between her and Trudy is like really close to foaling. So it'd be a good little lesson for you guys. I don't know if you can see it in the shadows, but she's looser than a normal mare that's not pregnant, but you touch her and it just goes right back. She's not, like, especially out here, so right close to her tail, she's a little soft, but out here she's very firm still. That's a little different than with Trudy, and I'll show you all that if Trudy lets me. Trudy is outside and free, and she's had a little tood lately, so we'll see what she lets me do. But as of right now, we are not even expecting Beyonce to have a baby anytime soon, because right now, I think today is February 1st, so she's got at least 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So Indy is still out with all of the broodmares right now. And you may be confused if you haven't been following on my other socials, but Indy, the big dark mare out here, we found out she miscarried. So it wasn't recent. A lot of people were, asking, oh my gosh, did she have to deliver the baby? Well, she did at some point, but we believe it was more around like 4 to 5 months pregnant. I just noticed that she wasn't getting big, and it's hard to tell right now because she has a blanket on. And I kind of said that in Part 1, that like she wasn't getting as big, but I just had like this gut feeling. And so when they came out to put Trudy's full alert in, which I'll show y'all today, if she lets me, I was like, hey, can you just like ultrasound this one mare, because I just have a bad feeling about it. And he kind of went ahead and affirmed my bad feelings. So he went and ultrasounded, and he was like, how many days is she? And I was like, well, at this point she should be at like 275, which is very far along. And he was like, it should be obvious she doesn't have a baby in there. And she looks trim and fit. So at some point, I think around 4 to 5 months, because I noticed she had a drop in weight, and it was in the middle of us having a drought. So she wasn't eating a ton of grass, and her baby had been weaned, so we weren't feeding her as much as well. So I just said, oh, she dropped some weight because she's not getting all that food. But no. And we also I remember around that time period, she had like a little colicky episode, and it wasn't anything major. We had the vet come out and whatnot, but you know, colic is just like a bellyache, and she was laying there groaning, and I got her up and we had her come in mineral tubed and stuff like that, and they said, oh, she's fine. She recovered really fast. And now looking back, I think it may have been cramping or either before or after effects of the miscarriage. So hindsight's 2020, but it was not a good day that day I found out. So let's go check on everybody. And to make things even kind of sadder, we're gonna have to separate Indy from the rest of the mares. So out here right now is Trudy, Gracie, Indy, Ethel. Indy is that third one, the big black one. She's going to end up going out with another mare of ours named Cool, who didn't have a baby this year. They will both be bred here soon. They'll be the first ones being bred this year. So they'll go out together since they won't have babies, because sometimes brood mares are fine being with other mares that have foals when they don't have one. And other times they don't understand that they don't have a baby and they're upset about it and they try to steal other babies. So since we have the ability to separate them and no one be by themselves, we just go ahead and prevent any of that happening. Again, it's so difficult because they all have blankets on, but we can still go check on them. It's like, I think 28 degrees right now. Now, I will say, y'all are gonna get mad at me. Trudy doesn't have a blanket on when we go inside. So hers gets pulled when we go inside because she's so close to foaling. We don't want her foaling with a blanket on because there's all these straps between her legs and stuff, and it's just dangerous. So when she's inside, she does not have one on. Just saying, because someone's gonna hate on me for that. I just stepped in a huge pile of mud. I just know someone's gonna get mad at me and be like, why are your horses in mud? Because it's been raining, Cheryl. I'm so sorry if your name's Cheryl and you're not mean. Oh, Trudy. You're always wanting the lovin's first. It gets a little more solid as you go. Try not to just eat it. Hi, baby. So this is our mama that's gonna have her baby first. She's at 328 days today. So she's at that point where if she wanted to have it, we're fine with it. 340 days is considered full term. She had her first baby, I think at 332. So we're getting around up to that date, but we shall see. She's huge though. I don't know if you could tell. I saw as we were walking up, you can see her belly below her blanket. It's so low. Hi, mama. You gonna let me look at your udder? Are you nicer out in the pasture than you are in your stall? I think you are. So I will say she had some wax. She always does that. She gets between me and you. She's so funny. She's my girl. You sweet mama. So she doesn't have as much wax on her teats right now as she does at night. And that's kind of normal. She has a little bit on the far one, I noticed. But you can tell probably from the first one that we did, her udder is much fuller. Her teats have like filled out a lot more, a lot better for the baby to latch onto. So she's producing enough milk right now that I'm not worried if she had a baby right now. But let me see if she'll let us. Let me show you how soft she is in her rear end. Oh, she's gonna try to love on you. Because I showed you Beyonce, who's like not, you know, that loose, and she is like a bowl of jello back here. Oh, thank you for doing that right now and groaning. Thank you. That was just so nice of you. So look how when I touch it, it's literally like it keeps moving after I stop, and she's even like out farther. Like out here, she's even like jello. Like on Beyonce, I could touch her over here and she was like a little loose. Out here, she was just like firm, like touching that. But she has really sunken down, and I wish I could show you without this blanket on. You keep those ears in check, woman. I wish I could show you without the blanket, but usually she's got like a big booty Trudy, right? And it's like super round. She's almost like got a point right now from where it has sunken in and those ligaments have really loosened and pulled down. because she's got to loosen up for that baby to make its exit, right? I mean, if you're trying to get through a tube and it's hard, it's going to be harder for you to get through that thing rather than if it was soft and expanded with your body. So that's kind of what her body is going through right now in preparation for this baby. Where'd your thingy go? There it is. It's on the other side. So Gracie is our next one to have a baby. She's due March 1st, so I think she's at 311 days today. So we want her to wait at least 9 more days to get to that 320 mark. She's a maiden, so maidens are notorious for either coming really early or like holding on to that baby and going late. So we have no clue what she's gonna do, which makes it interesting. Trudy, baby, you had your time. I guess I could just pet on you while I talk, okay? Gracie has a very small udder since this is her first baby, and she is loosened up. Her belly is dropping. She's doing everything right. Last year our maiden had like 0 udder and then bam, had it right away when the baby came. So I was gonna go under, but anyway, let's go look at her just for some, I'm like laughing at Trudy right now, I can't even think. You gotta be in the deep stuff, huh, baby? See, look at the size difference between Trudy and Gracie. Are y'all gonna be sassy like last time? I feel like they are. Look at Trudy and those ears. What are y'all being like that for? Also, Gracie's carrying a baby for the first mare we just looked at, Beyonce. So Beyonce is gonna have 2 genetic babies this year. And everyone thinks, oh my gosh, you're gonna rip the baby away from Gracie and give it to Beyonce. No, Gracie won't know a difference. She'll think it's her baby. It should be appropriate size for her because she's a small mare. Beyonce's also a small mare. So she's gonna raise the baby just like it's hers, but everyone keeps asking me if it's gonna be a gray baby. There's no possible way. Gracie's not related to it at all.
Go ahead.
Well, I may just have to do a little talking about them because none of them are cooperating. So Gracie is our next one up after Trudy. She is looking great for her, how do I word that? At her point in her pregnancy, for that. She's looking great for that point in her pregnancy since we don't really want her to have a baby yet. Gracie's looking great at this point of her pregnancy. Everything looks great for what we want. We don't want her to be super progressed because it's too early. So turn around over here. I'm not gonna try to chase these heifers down because they're running all over the place. So the left one is Indy. She's the one that we're gonna have to separate here soon because she's not gonna have a baby. And then the right one is her bestie, Ethel. Ethel is only like 260 something days pregnant. So at this point, there's nothing gonna change with her. Her udder's very small. She's not really loose in her tail or her hip, and her belly, even though it's kind of big, like she kind of started out with a hay belly. So it looks a little bigger than it probably should, but they're both fine. It's gonna be a minute, but there's your update as far as February 1st. All the mares are doing well. Trudy has not had her baby yet, but I don't think it's gonna be too long, honestly. My Tahoe floors are about to be so dirty. I'd like to see, oh my gosh, his testosterone's kicking in. Bo is so tired of us putting him with the little turds. Are you gonna come see us? You look like a little turd, but a little cute turd. Yeah, you know what that wire does. Bobo.